Hey, what's up, guys? Jonathan Holden here, and I just wanted to do this quick book review for Trey Lewellen as he gave me one of the first copies of his new book, How to Source Product from China. I was lucky enough to get my paws on this first edition of the book that Trey just released. Um, when I was out in St. Louis a couple weeks ago. I was meeting up with Trey and the rest of our mastermind group, and he gave us all a first copy of this book. So super excited! I was super excited to rip into it. On the flight back from St. Louis to Boston is when I got down and dirty in it. I tore through the whole thing, and I was just simply like amazed. Trey does a really good job. Basically, over the past his past visits to China, all his transcribed notes and personal experiences and all that, he's basically created a book about it. It's he breaks it down into four chapters. He starts with prepare. Going over to China is not like hopping on a flight down to Florida or over to California. So there's a lot of preparation you got to do for heading over to China. He goes over the whole the application process, getting your Chinese visa, vaccines, medicine, food, what to expect, all that good stuff. Then he dives into arrival. How to effectively navigate through the Canton Fair is where you're going over to China to visit the world's largest export fair in the world to source products from China and then sell them online for a profit. So he does a good job of what to expect, how to keep organized, how to stay organized. Then he dives into chapter 3, present. He just goes into a closer snapshot of inside the Canton Fair, the top 5 characteristics that he looks for when deciding to purchase a product from a vendor, and also the top 3 questions to ask exhibitors while over there, so you're not getting ripped off. And then chapter 4, he goes over arriving back home, getting back into the groove of things, how to pick your first product that you want to start negotiating on quantity and price with the vendor, getting that product actually through customs and getting it to your shop or your fulfillment center here in the United States, then also sending a payment over to China to make sure you don't get scammed and the payment actually gets over there to your vendor. So there was a really good nugget in here that he lays out. One key thing that really I thought was really a nugget of information that would probably save you millions, and it was discovering the real exhibitors, the real factories, the real core factories that actually produces the product over there in China versus the middleman. So I mean, at the Canton Fair, there is hundreds and thousands of exhibitors. Some of them are middlemen that they work with local core factories, and then some are actual core factories. He goes over how to a very key tip and trick that he learned when you're walking around the Canton Fair, how to discover the real factories versus the middleman factories. I mean, that just blew my mind right there. So if you haven't already, get your hands on a copy of How to Source Product from China. I searched the web high and low. There's a couple blog articles that are really vague of how to do this, but Trey pulls back the curtain, full transparency of his recent trips to China, and it's just amazing. That's what's packed into this book. So go grab your copy and stack that cash.